ate pizza at some point. I don't know.
What's up? We're live. Talk to me more about pizza.
Always.
Sometimes it's in a circle, sometimes it's in a triangle, sometimes it's square.
And sometimes it's a calzone, or what I like to call a lie.
Yeah, that's like a super introverted piece of pizza. It's just like, no.
Ooh,
All
can we
right.
talk about Stromboli for a second? Jesse, put your finger down. I think we all want to know what the difference in Stromboli and calzone.
Stromboli's got meatballs? I don't even know what Stromboli
Yeah.
is.
I think
Stromboli's
calzones
got
can have
meatballs.
meatballs. Chat, light it up. What's the difference?
Stromboli sounds
All right.
Wrong
What's up,
answers
Void Jumpers? Welcome to my favorite Wednesday of the week, Void Jumpers Wednesday. How is everybody doing today? I'm very excited to be here. We left off in a very interesting part last week. I don't think I have any announcements this week, but we will be doing a... The fuck do I usually say here? My little intro. Got it. All right, what's up? This is an actual play tabletop RPG live stream. We'll be using this system, Monster of the Week by Michael Sands. Great book. We made up a bunch of our own stuff, though, so we're going to be making up character classes, moves, maneuvers, how we use the rules. It really lends itself to that kind of stuff, so if you get a chance and you love playing games, pick this up. Very, very cool. Very character-driven for us, very story-driven. We like to create this world and live in it as actors and improvisers. But that's it from me. Welcome back, group. I'm going to bring in the crew here. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
So, Yes,
you guys
so-
get any announcements?
Well, it looks like a lot of
make
thoughts
sure you're
on
registered.
Stromboli. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, that's really important. I'll take a backseat to that. Yeah, it's a great
Okay.
announcement. Will you say a little more about that trend and maybe ways to make that happen?
I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but there is a website that I will drop in the chat where you can go and check and make sure you're registered and that your registration is up to date. And since a lot of deadlines are coming up for requesting absentee ballots or even registering in the first place, it behooves you to get on that.
Headcount.org/vote from home is what looks like a pretty useful resource. It's giving you ways to specifically see your state voter laws, request your ballot if you're trying to not vote at a polling place, and good time as any to say if you are able to volunteer at a polling place this election, that is one really tangible, great thing you can do. A lot of those polling places historically have been run by elderly volunteers, people who may be immunocompromised in one way or another. And let's just not let them fuck us more than they are trying to.
For sure.
All right.
And in many places, poll working is also a paid position. So
Oh, that's cool.
that's worth looking into.
I love
If
getting paid.
you need a little extra cash.
So
Okay.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is a Stromboli?
I don't know either.
I thought chat tell us.
Yeah, so chat's giving us a couple stuff. There's some, Mark is saying calzones have the sauce inside, which I guess I thought Strombolis did too. I'm not trying to get my face so big here. I just can't. The chat is so small. Zombie Orpheus says Stromboli is the guy from Pinocchio. There's some there's some rolled, folded questions. Actually, it's getting too small. I can't read it.
It's a
Okay,
small
so-
island off of Sicily.
I think the difference between maybe a Stromboli and a calzone is this. I think a calzone is like a hot pocket where it's just one fold, and I think a Stromboli is more like a croissant where they like wrap that, and so it's like a spiral roll.
Oh.
So
That's
it's
great.
like a fold instead of a roll. That's mine.
I can live with that.
It's like
True story about me. When I was in I think early high school, middle school, I went to a just like a little local concert. It was like a folk night. Some singer songwriter was there. I went with my mother, and at the end, she wanted to meet him and get an autograph. And I didn't have anything on me, but we had just gotten Italian beforehand, and I had some leftovers. So I asked this gentleman to sign my Stromboli. I thought it was endearing as a 13-year-old. He found it very offensive, and was not happy about it at all.
So did he?
Yeah, he signed it.
Did you
In
preserve
sauce
it?
with
Did you
finger.
freeze it?
No, we just kept it on the counter for a while. Then my mom got mad that it was still out, but I didn't want to throw it away because it seemed like it had value beyond just being a Stromboli at that point. This seems like it's made up, but this is genuinely a real thing that happened in my life.
I feel like anyone who knows you will know that this story is absolutely 100% true.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm sure that we've tortured Jesse enough with our nibble babble without getting the game. Throw that finger up, sir.
All right, let's blow through a recap here. I want to get to the action. We got some important shit to take care of tonight, okay? We're going to go round robin, just talk about one moment that you remember from last time that you think is relevant, okay? We're going to start with Rex.
I don't know ultimately how relevant it will be, but I think one of the best parts of the last episode for me was the boys getting abducted while the girls managed to get to safety. And not only were the boys abducted, they were abducted by a bunch of tweens. The Tough Club Club.
The Tough Club. All right, cool. How about you, Sam/Puck?
That's a good question. I spent a lot of, I would have to say probably the most memorable part is counting the fibers on the inside of a bag that's been placed over your head. You just find ways to amuse yourself when there's, nothing else going on. It seems like a sassy response, but so much of Sam's demeanor is like, yeah, that figures. Like, all right, so this is how it ends, huh? You're gonna end up at the bottom of some river, and it's like he wishes that those bags. I don't think this came out actually, but it's like every time something like that happens, he starts imagining his ex-wives judging him, being like, "I knew you wouldn't make it. I knew you'd end up dead in a ditch someplace," and it just makes him like, "Now I'm gonna figure some way out of this just to make them mad." So, anyway, that's not really relevant. It's more just getting into character.
Tag.
Last week, Tag finally revealed to Bryn the premonition that he had, in which he saw a kind of hooded figure sitting, I believe, in the throne room of the summoner's chamber, and a body wearing summoner's robes on the floor, presumably, I think there was some blood coming out, so presumably dead. I shared this with Bryn. I showed the memory to her. She prodded it a bit, investigated it more closely than I had, and discovered that the figure sitting there was Tag, and the body was Bryn's.
Ooh. All right, and Bryn.
That was my memory. So let me think. I guess finding my mother, like not injured or, all this time worrying that something was wrong. It was really odd to find her and is it Barik?
Barik.
Her parallel, seemingly uninjured. And we ended last week with me finding my mother and us hugging, and then that's it. Didn't get to ask anything. So just really excited to find out what the heck has been going on the last couple weeks.
We're going to drop in points that I'm going to bring up because they may factor into this. A lot of what happens tonight is going to depend on what you guys want out of the situation. So I've got a lot of ideas and locations, but I don't necessarily know what's going to happen either. But you did find out that the Royal Guard were in charge of the town guard, which is not something that's ever happened before. They were these bigger, burlier guards who were wearing the royal colors, the sapphire sashes around them, and they were taking control of the city's enforcement.
The beauty pageant contestants.
And then you also had the Tyne who were supposedly living in the city had all gone missing. That was told to you, or they'd not been heard from. That's what the Tyne told you. And then the Tough Club said that they had been taken care of by these face-changing people, and those face-changing people had slowly disappeared. So those are just the two moments that I remember from last week. But let's just drop in, right? Fuck it. Let's do it. So what we saw last was that Varric had escorted you into the throne room. After a brief conversation, he said that he was going to retrieve the summoner. He left, and Bryn's mother, Amelia, entered and gave Bryn a forehead touch to forehead and said, "Finally," which is exactly where we will be picking up. Bryn, your mother is standing right in front of you, and she is very happy to see you.
You, I couldn't contact you for 2 weeks. I got this. I look around. Is Varric in the room?
He's not.
I got this message from you that things were going weird with Varric, and then it cut out. What happened?
It was a false alarm. Varric has been doing experiments in his laboratory, and they were dangerous, and they did cause some disturbances, but it was in an effort to diffuse the barrier that's around the planet, and he was unsuccessful, I thought, until you arrived here. How did you get here?
We took a thing called a void jumper.
I've never heard of that before.
I hadn't either. It was on the Haven ship. I have so much to catch you up on. So much happened on Bloom Planet. Lingorium is dead. Got his name right. He's dead.
Her face drains of color, and she says, "Oh, no." Before she can respond, a servant enters, one of the few you've seen in the palace, because it does seem to be relatively abandoned, for lack of a better word. And the servant says, "Your Highness, food and drinks have been prepared on the balcony." And your mother says, "Oh, yes, excellent. Why don't we head to the balcony? We can all sit down, have a bite to eat, get you something to drink, and we can catch up."
Oh yeah. These are my friends. This is Rex.
A pleasure to meet you.
She works for the company. This is my parallel tag. Did you know that was gonna happen? But you didn't.
I was aware that they were sending someone. We weren't sure when they would arrive.
Oh.
She offers
And
her
I'm
arm to you, Tag, in a way that you've seen Bryn do with both Varric and the illusion of her father in the traditional fire greeting.
Okay. I'd like to take the hand, do the greeting, and see if that touch can amplify my ability to use the sight, and see if there's anything funky going on with this lady. I don't know why. I've just got some tingling spidey sense happening.
Sure. It doesn't require a roll, right? You just flip into the face state?
Yeah, to see any magical influences.
Sure. You just flip over, and what you see is rather strange. The person standing in front of you retains all of the features of Bryn's mother, but she is a bright, bright golden glow. She looks up into your eyes, smiles, and snaps her finger, and you are out of the face state.
Okay.
She
That's to be expected. That's what I would see looking at a summoner in the face day, right?
I think so, yeah. Bryn, I think, has qualities like that. It's like an abundance of magical energy.
Okay.
She touches her nose and points at you, Tag, and then turns to Sam and says, "And who is this?"
This is Sam. Sometimes he goes by Puck. We haven't got to know each other super well, but he's a real pleasant person.
She seems to be very taken by you, Sam, the summoner, and she steps a bit into your space.
Fourth wife.
He will not be my stepfather.
Oh,
She steps a bit close, much closer than any of the others that she just, even with Tag, who she initiated a strange greeting with. And she says, "Welcome to our family's home."
thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for seeing me standing here. Appreciate it.
She smiles and locks eyes with you, Sam, and says, "I'm getting a very peculiar sensation." And she lifts her hands up, palms out, and raises them up towards your head and says, "May I?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah, why not?
She places her hands on your temples, and there's a moment in which nothing happens, and the both of you are just standing quite close to each other, and everyone else in the room is just kind of eyeballing you. And then there's a thump, and you feel yourself floating in darkness, and you are standing right next to Puck. And the two of you are looking at one another with the summoner in between you. And she says, "Wow."
Hey, Sam. Sam, you look great. Was this your ID? You want to bring me in here with this guy? This guy was driving for like 2 weeks. Yeah, it was great. We did all sorts of things. We made pizza. We had basil. We made friends. It's great. I don't suppose you get rid of this guy. Is that a thing that you do? You just
She lets go, and you are back in the throne room as Sam. And she says, "I have no idea what that is, but I find it to be fascinating. The creature inside your head is very powerful."
yeah, and yeah. Yeah, he never shuts up. It's almost like he's always talking in my head. Always. Just chipper all the time, like he's got a little basket of flowers just running around, like every little joke he makes is a piece of fudge. Just for me.
She smiles and laughs, and she gestures towards the door that the servant left, and she said, let's continue this on the balcony." And she walks through a couple hallways that are empty, and they are also kind of dimly lit. You notice that on the wall there are these crystal sconces that are lit with these glowing crystals. They seem to be fluctuating the glow. She leads you out onto the balcony, and you can see there is a small yet impressive feast which has been prepared. There is soft bread, cold meats, and a variety of fruits. Summoner Amelia gestures for all of you to take a seat, and for one of the servant who you saw in the other room to pour everyone a goblet of fragrant wine. While that is happening, she does again look to Sam and say, "I cannot help you, but I think that my advisor Varik would be very interested in your condition, and if you are looking for someone who might be able to take a look at it, perhaps he could help."
I mean, he works for you, right?
Indeed, he works with me.
And you can't do anything, but you think the guy who works for you might be able to do something, or you just want him to poke around in my noodle?
She gestures to her daughter and says, "I'm sure you've seen that my daughter is quite powerful, and
Yeah.
yet her parallel is able to do things that she cannot."
That's true. You know, that's very true. Like, okay, just as long as I'm not walking into a room where there's like a couch you're gonna have me lie down on. We should be okay.
Absolutely not.
Great.
She does turn to Bryn, and that look of sadness creeps into her face, but she's once meeting your friends has been quite removed from that bit of grief you saw when you told her about Summoner Langorium. But she does say, if Langorium has returned to the planet, I imagine your mission was... And she doesn't finish the sentence.
He had a message for you. He said he's sorry, and he hoped you wouldn't judge him too harshly.
For what?
Well, they made a Bloom Eric's, correct? This is me asking out of game because that was a while ago. And they were using it to make food and...
Yeah, it was like doing a bunch of crazy shit like that. It was like an experimental thing that had a lot of properties, one of which was to just like overcharge their production abilities.
Right. And it kind of got out of hand and ended up opening up a rift, and something came through. A scorpion came through and we defeated it. Rex really kicked its ass, and somehow now the scorpion is, the essence of it is in my staff.
This all seems to be very important to her, more so than the news of Langorium. And she says, what do you mean a scorpion came through? From where?
I don't know. I mean, Tag has more experience seeing in the space state, kind of. You might be able to explain it better than I can.
Yes. And she turns to you, Tag, and fixes you with a piercing glare.
I don't have any better explanation. It is a scorpion, as far as I can see. People have talked about it as a shadow of an elder god, an avatar. This is not something we had a lesson for in the academy, in the monastery for parallels.
No, I don't imagine you did. Interesting. May I see your staff, Bryn?
You pull it out and hand it to her.
She grabs it and looks it over and spends 30 seconds, a minute, looking over the gem in which that green energy is contained. She even puts a finger onto the edge of that crystal, and when she removes it, a strand of energy, very thin, comes off and snaps away, and she rolls it between her fingers as though testing it, and then it dissipates into that dust, that glowing dust that you've seen before. And she says, what a peculiar situation. Eat. And the servant returns and starts to dole out a lot of different foods and keeps everyone's wine full.
Meanwhile, I've gone all Ron Swanson and have eaten all of the meat that was on the entire table for Ed. That's the only thing I've eaten is the meat, but I have eaten all of it.
So what everybody
with like a skewer of some type, and you've taken each individual appetizer of meat and just made your own giant kebab that you're just
Oh my
walking.
God. We're gonna have to start singing the gout song. Go for it.
The summoner sits back. I think there's a little bit of time in which you all realize how tired and hungry and thirsty you are, and there is a lot of eating that happens. She just sips her wine and watches, and then says, I can only imagine you've seen a lot of danger if the summoner was defeated and there was a monster which was returned to your staff. I must thank all of you for helping Bryn with this rather incredible task, and thank you for helping keep her safe and bring her home.
You'd be perhaps surprised just how self-sufficient she is. She's of the ass that was kicked. More than 50% of that ass was kicked by her. I didn't want that to come out with that particular language, but now it has, and I stand by what I said.
And I have a mouthful of cold salami, and I say, yeah, she was great. I barely had to do any protecting of her at all.
Rex starts to choke on the salami just a little bit, and I just bang her right in the sternum with the back of the fist.
And I reflexively punch him.
She
Tag takes 1 point of damage.
she lets you all eat and drink. And she says, I gather that there is much for us to discuss.
So much. What's the deal with those beauty pageant guards?
I beg your pardon?
Those are new. I've never seen those guards
With the sashes.
with the sashes.
Oh, yes. I found it necessary to take a little bit more control of the city's guards. Since the barrier's gone up, there has been some unrest. And so we have distributed some of our forces to command the town guard.
What's happened? I mean, the barrier on Bloom started causing all of these like giant creatures everywhere attacking citizens, and it was nuts. What has that been happening here?
Yeah, what's the bug situation?
No bugs, certainly no scorpions. And we haven't had any problems with what you're describing.
I think we're maybe bearing the lead a little bit. We fought a Sammy serpent the size of a subway car.
One of those Sammy serpents from when I was a kid. It was gigantic.
Where?
In
Here,
the desert.
Yeah.
With the tine, which I also need to talk to you about. No one told me they were real.
Right.
We met Zeem. I don't know if you know him. I'm guessing you do.
Yes. Zeem. I am a bit taken aback by all of this. I do not understand. There were snakes in the desert and they turned on you?
But mainly one.
One.
Should they have just been our friends?
Yeah,
No.
on us seems like maybe not like should be the language police, having spoken about butts at such length to the summoner of the planet, but it did seem like there was it was maybe being piloted more than using its own cognitive agency to turn on us.
If what you're saying is true, and if it was being piloted, that would require a gigantic source of magic. Interesting. Yes, I
Like
I don't whisper that loud enough for her to hear it, but that's what I like. It
Okay.
escapes before I can catch myself.
Sure.
I'm a little meat drunk.
What's interesting is while she's flustered and her eyes are closed, the moment you think that, she actually opens her eyes and looks right at you, Rex. And she says, I would find it more believable that the creature itself would possess some kind of intelligence and would be acting on its own. If it is a large and magical creature, perhaps it was capable of thought. I don't understand. And what were you saying about the Tyne and Zeem? He is well?
Yeah. He's the one that asked us to fight this giant Sammy serpent, and it released a bunch of Tyne spirits, I guess, back into their village.
I don't think they're doing great. They are suffering permadeath that has previously been unknown to that species.
That sounds horrible. I've tried repeatedly to reach out to Zeem, but he refuses to answer my summons.
Really?
Yes.
That's weird because you're the summoner, so I feel like if you should be able to do anything, it would be summon.
She gives you kind of like a side glance and an eye roll.
Right. I see how that also came. I just meant more not in a judgmental sense, but in a literal. It's just the language and I see Bryn's eyes, and I just mid-sentence stop talking and look down.
She looks right at you, Tag, and she's like, yes, I think that because you are my daughter's parallel and bound to her for the entirety of your life until either dead or dismissed, you'll be spending a lot of time in the palace, and you'll have a chance to see just how things work around here.
Ooh, Mom's mad.
I am so grateful for the food and the drinks, and I don't mean to rush ceremony, but it does seem like there's a bit of a ticking clock here. Whatever's happening with the Tyne, whatever's happening with this serpent, whatever's happening with the explosion of energy barriering in the planet, it seems likely that they're connected, and if not, worst case then, because we have 3 problems to deal with and not a single one. But if Varric has in fact been making any progress or leads, maybe his laboratory, he himself would offer us some breadcrumbs.
Yes, my thinking exactly. It is a bit late, and I will need time to relay the information that I have so far with Varric and ask how he would like to proceed. I will also tell him of your plight, Sam, if you would like, and see if he has any ideas. Why don't we finish our meal and get some rest? In the morning, Varric and I will sit down and we will have a much more cohesive list of questions which we will ask you, knowing what we know now. Perhaps we can all put our heads together and work towards dispelling this barrier. If you're here, Bryn, I can only imagine you were able to do so on Bloom. Perhaps we could find a way to do that here.
Absolutely. Also, is there any pie?
There is. She snaps, and another servant comes out holding a moonberry pie. This is fresh out of the oven, and it is set in the center of the table, and it is beginning to be served. There is also very small, thimble-sized cups of tea. And she says, this is an herbal tea. It will help you relax, and goes with this pie. And these are all passed out to you. You guys all sit around and have a little dessert and drink a little tea. Rex, roll a straight tough check.
See just how me drunk you are.
Uh-oh. So I add tough to it?
Yes.
Okay. 7.
Okay. You start to not feel very good.
It
starts-
Meat sweat. You got the
It does seem like that at first because you actually just feel kind of full and you're starting to sweat a bit. And you expect it to be a very uncomfortable meat sweat situation, but the sensation starts to kind of collect at the back of your skull, and it starts to tingle in a way that makes it almost feel like your neck is elongating, and then you get very dizzy.
Whoa, guys. I've never had meat sweats like this before. Something weird is happening.
Just I'd like to immediately check her glass for any sort of like residue or tampering or anything that looks like there may have been some funny business with her food or beverage.
Sure. How would you like to go about that?
Investigate a mystery? Is that the type of thing? I may just run my finger around the rim of the glass, or if there's nothing around there, dip my finger all the way down and see if there's any particulates in the wine itself that seems different than any of the other beverages.
Sure. Are you trying to be covert about this at all?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll try to do it as casually as possible.
First, you're going to roll Act Under Pressure just to see how sneaky you are. That is plus cool.
Okay. That's an 8.
Okay. You're gonna be cool enough about it that nobody's gonna know for sure what you're doing, but your movements are not going to be hidden. You won't be able to get the cup off the table without people seeing. But in this commotion, as Rex is starting to get dizzier and dizzier, you will be able to check. There are 2 glasses she's drank out of. One is a very small cup of herbal tea. The other is the fragrant wine. Which would you like to check? I suppose you can check both. First, just roll investigate a mystery, plus sharp.
That is an 11.
All right, cool. You're going to be able to ask me 2 questions. You can use the established list or the modified W questions just to get a feel for what's up.
Okay. Has some foreign substance been placed in either of these glasses?
In the smaller cup, the tea, there seems to be, in all of your glasses, much like Earl Grey, where it has bergamot oil, where there's just like a little bit of oil, you can see residue on the surface of it. There seems to be slightly more in Rex's glass than would be in yours.
And has anybody else who's drank had any other sort of symptoms like this?
No, nobody at the table seems to be affected.
And for my second question, do the effects that she seems to be experiencing coincide with any types of poisons that I've encountered before?
Yes. Because of Sam's renegade lifestyle, it doesn't actually seem like a poison. It seems more like maybe a drug.
Okay.
Rex, you now
Woo!
throw up in your mouth a little bit.
Oh.
It has a very coppery taste.
Is
My mouth tastes like metal.
that blood? Check, see if it's blood.
There's a little bit of blood and spit coming out of the side of her mouth. The summoner at this point, Summoner Amelia, pushes her chair back from the table and says, I think your friend is sick?
Yeah, I think there's either she's having an allergic reaction to this tea. Or, Rex, are you allergic to anything?
Ha! Things
Okay.
are allergic to me.
Well, looks like your blood is allergic to your body because it's starting to come out of your mouth.
There's this moment where there's this little bit of chatter and some question and uncertainty, and then you see a change come over the summoner. She stands up, points to the servant, yells, guards. 2 of those burly guards wearing the sapphire sashes burst through the door, see where she's pointing, and she says, arrest that man. He's arrested, and she says to them, send the others to the kitchen. I want everyone in the dungeon now. And they all leave. She looks to you, Rex, and says, with your permission, problem solver, I would like to escort you to the medical wing.
All these guys gotta come with me.
Sure. She signals, and another pair of guards come in. Again, everyone who is in here is these big burly guards wearing this sash. And you are all escorted to the medical wing. The feast is left behind. You can see people getting pulled through the halls, different servants, cooks, it looks like, and they're all being pulled through the hallway. They're all complaining, and they're just being yanked. And you guys are brought to the medical wing. There is a doctor there, and she can see what's happening immediately. She thinks it's poison, and then has Rex lay down. The summoner steps back and kind of gestures for the rest of you to do so as well, just to give them space. And the doctor signals as 2 more nurses come in. Through all this commotion, by far the most people you've seen in this palace so far. The doctor and 2 nurses go to work on Rex. Rex, roll a, I suppose, read a bad situation.
I'd like to help out. I brought both of the glasses with because I know when people
Sure.
have poison, it's like you bring the snake that did it. So
Yeah, absolutely. You can roll. You're going to get a +1 because you're acting on information you received from investigating the mystery initially.
Sorry, my thing is down. What do I add to that?
Plus sharp.
Plus sharp. That's a 10.
Okay. What did you get, Sam?
I rolled a 9. I don't know what I add to it.
You get a +1. You're actually just going to be helping out, yeah. So you get a +1 on a 9. Help grants and +1 to the roll, but you also expose yourself to trouble or danger. Okay. So Rex, ask me questions either just with your W questions. You get with a 10, you get to ask me 3.
What is the best way out of this situation?
You are currently being held down to this cot, and you can see that the nurses are actually strapping your wrists because you're starting to seize a little bit. And so, as of right now, you're being restrained.
Can I ask who did this to me?
You are trying to navigate through the memory of the evening, and you can feel your memories pull away from each other and kind of reassemble more like a collage than a sequence. And you can remember everybody at the table having the exact same drinks. When the drinks were brought out, they were on a tray. They seemed to be handed out in no particular order. The wine was all poured from the same carafe into each person's beverage. You can't actually parse that information out of it.
All right, fair enough. Sorry, my computer crashed, and so
It's
I
okay.
don't actually have the questions up in front of me.
Use a W word and ask me any question that you'd like. It'll be your final one.
Why me?
You don't know for sure, but there's one
Probably
thing
because I'm
that's
very strong.
actually there's one thing that sets you apart from the rest of this party. And out of everybody in this group, you're the only one who doesn't seem to have any connection to magic. In this weird state that is very much turning into a hallucination now, you are certain that it has to do with the fact that you're just too damn strong. The doctor is able to do what looks like minor magic. She has a scroll that she's unrolled, and the nurses are actually holding down on Rex's torso so that she can read from it, and is performing some kind of magic. And you can see Rex lurch forward and just spew a lot of liquid out of her mouth.
Projectile too.
And it's gross. But your wrists are strapped, and now that you realize your ankles are too. So this happens 2 more times, and Rex, you begin to relax. You're no longer going up in this hallucinatory state, but you're not exactly coming down. You seem to have stabilized. The summoner is standing next to all of you, and the doctor turns around and looks at the summoner, and the summoner says, and they say, we've slowed it, I think potentially stopped it. She's gonna feel ill for a while, but we can keep her here and keep an eye on her. We'll go and get some water.
I turn to Brandon and I say, your planet sucks.
I mean, right now it does. Just we'll get you back here in a month or so. It'll be better. And I look at my mother and I'm like, what is going on? This is absolutely insane. Who would try to poison my friend?
I don't know, but we have had some trouble with the locals making an attempt on our house and our family and our guards. I would not be surprised if that cup of tea were meant for me.
This is unacceptable.
It's unacceptable, and it's also sloppy. Summoner, I'm not trying to disagree with you. You know the social landscape here better than I, but if someone is skilled enough in this kind of espionage to get a poison so close, I don't know how they would then leave it to random chance that it would be in the goblet that you drink from.
Sometimes people get nervous when you're around other people who you think might be able to read your mind. Might make you nervous.
I do not have the answers, Tag. I wish that I did. It would make me feel much more comfortable in this moment. I think it would be best to let your friend rest under the care of our doctors.
Can we trust them?
I hope so, Bryn, because if one of us is poisoned and we can't, I fear that we're going to be in trouble.
Well, one of us has been poisoned, so the first half of your stipulation has already come to pass, leaving us at the same question of whether or not we can trust them.
Yeah.
I think one of us should stay with her.
Well, I'll take first watch, I guess.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Sam.
That sounds fine to me.
I don't know. She might prefer the poison.
I will
Yep.
I will have 2 of my guards wait outside the door just to make sure there's nothing wrong. Should you need anything, one of them will be able to get a message to me as quickly as you need.
Thank you.
Uh,
By the way, what is your name? Do we just call you Mom or Summoner? Like, you're like,
You may call me Amelia.
Amelia, thank you.
You didn't get the memo about all characters in this world needing to have monosyllabic names?
I did not, no.
It's okay. I'd like, if she's leaving, I just want to follow her outside.
She would like to, she offers to take you to your rooms. Bryn has a room in the palace, but there is a suite next to Bryn's in the same hallway that's always just been an unfinished, unused room. And you get this moment of understanding of like, oh, fuck, that's my parallels room. And so she takes you to the wing of the palace in which Bryn's room is and yours is, and she says, I am worried for your friend, and I understand that you may want to go and check on her. I ask that you be careful and that you allow my guards to escort you around the palace just to ensure your safety. I have a lot to mull over, and I need to confer with Varik. But if you wouldn't mind, I think that you should get some rest, and we can pick this up in the morning. I have prisoners to interrogate as well.
Oh, speaking of that, I don't actually know if you guys can read minds or anything like that, but you know, I'm not one for torturing guys. That's not what I'm saying. But when it comes to discerning whether or not somebody's being forthright, I got a little knack for that. And I, you know, if I could be of service and help figure out who did wrong by my friend here, I would definitely make myself available should you need me.
Absolutely. If you would prefer, I can have our guards stand guard over Rex, and if you would like to assist Varik in interrogating these people, they are my servants. I hope that none of them are to blame. I do not plan to torture anyone. That's not how we do things around here, but I do need answers, and every single one of them had a hand in setting up our feast and preparing our food. So if you would like to...
Well, I can't be in 2 places at once. I'll just keep an eye on, yeah.
I'll volunteer to watch Rex. I noticed in that moment, even if he maybe didn't realize it, because his focus was on this interrogation, this not torture, that he did just drop the word friend in reference to our party for the first time. And it was a touching moment for Tag. I'll be happy. Yeah, I'll stay. I'll take first watch.
Absolutely.
I'm
I
talking to
pull.
Sam,
I
if you
just
want.
put a hand out to Sam and I pull him close and I say, "Go do what you need to do." But honestly, I was kind of hoping you would stay because I think these other 2 are going to be really positive and it's just going to be annoying. But you should probably go deal with the prisoners.
Yeah, I'll come back and make sure and scare away all their sunshine as quickly as possible. Also,
Thanks.
not to ruin the moment by saying something positive, but I'm impressed at how strong you still are on the verge of death. It's a heck of a grip you got there.
Thanks.
Yeah, try not to die before I get back.
Okay, so we're going to split the party a little bit. Tag, you're staying with Rex?
Yeah, stacking it in the back of your head, I do want a private moment with the summoner, Amelia,
Amelia or Bryn?
Amelia, and one other little moment that can happen while I'm in here with Rex. But
Okay.
I think backseated.
You will have Amelia is about to take Bryn to her room. You will have a moment to touch her elbow and request a word with her on their way out. So Bryn steps into the hallway, and you're able to catch Amelia near the doorway. You are not alone, but you seem to be in a semi-intimate setting.
Your Elegance. It feels like you already know everything I'm about to say. You know what it is to have a parallel. I'm sure our thoughts can't possibly be that unique. It's clear that we've been chippy with each other. I mean you no disrespect. I, in fact, have a deep honor and respect for you, not only your position and your deeds, but having raised the daughter that you did. As you know, and as I hope you can respect in return, civility will take a backseat to protecting, elevating, supporting, challenging Bryn. She is my charge. And our experiences together, however brief, have been chaotic, unpredictable, troubling in more ways than one. So, while I do look forward to a long relationship together where we are eating pie, tossing back mulled wine, I am in concern mode right now, and I will continue to prod every avenue that I can.
She smiles. It's like a sweet smile of understanding. And she actually reaches out and puts a hand as though she's cupping your ribs. And you realize in this moment that you are just wearing a grass skirt. And her hand is coming into contact with your bare flesh. There is a
Summoner. I'm flattered, but I shouldn't. I mean, your daughter. We're not.
She laughs and realizes that you're getting the wrong idea, and she finds it to be very cute. And she gives you a squeeze on your ribs. And you get this sensation of the utmost familiarity. This strange feeling of understanding and history and purpose and power. And she says, I understand more than you know. And she turns and she leaves to walk with Bryn. Is that everything you wanted out of that? We can pull her aside if you need to say.
I think as she walks away, I just look down, clutch my rib, and just a rib squeeze. Huh. And walk back.
She gestures to a couple guards who have now, there seems to just be a couple pairs that are showing up, and she is giving them directions. One of these pairs, she gestures to Sam, and she says, this gentleman will be assisting Varik with the interrogations. If you could take him down to where we're holding the prisoners, I would appreciate it. These guards, Sam, lead you away. We will pick up there in a moment. Bryn, Summoner, your mother, she leads you to your room. It's kind of a long walk because the palace is a bit large and labyrinthian. You will have a moment to discuss things with her before you get there, but she looks intent on dropping you off and leaving because there's a lot of work to do. So if there's anything you'd like to say to your mother, you will have the Aaron Sorkin walk and talk.
Walk and talk.
To
Walk
do so?
and talk.
I just want to bring up, well, the company tried to kill me on Haven. I don't know how far involved we are with them, but one of their agents, Shabana, made it very clear that I had no jurisdiction and tried to kill me. And when we came down to the Fire Planet and we met Zim, and we find out that the company is working for us. And I didn't know that. Nobody tells me any of these things. So when am I going to get briefed on all of this stuff?
As you say these things, she actually stops walking. She's been walking very deliberately, keeping a quick pace, kind of like pulling you along. But as you say this, her pace slows until it stops. And as you tell this brief story, she's actually pacing in the hallway now. And when you mention Zim and not being briefed on anything, she actually kind of like shouts and punches the wall, which is made out of stone, and it just like reverberates. And when she pulls her hand away, all of her knuckles are bleeding, and there's a crack in the wall.
Oh, shit.
And she says, "If I had my way, Bryn, we would have no dealings with the company, and you would know far more about what has been going on than you currently do. But I have not had my way, Bryn, not until now. And things are in motion which will enable me to take control of our planet in a way that has been outside of my reach for too long. I am sorry to hear they tried to kill you, but I am not surprised."
What?
You let me be transported by these people and you knew about them?
I did not know to what extent this treachery went. Your mission seemed important at the time. It is easy for us now, in this world in which so many things have changed, to look back and doubt that decision. But in the innocence of that moment, removed from all of this, it seemed an easy yes for you to go and experience life on a different planet.
Who's making the decisions here? If it's not you.
She starts walking again and pulls you along, and she says, "That is a complicated answer, and there is a lot wrapped up into it. I promise you I will tell you more in the morning, but there is much that needs to be done." At that point, you arrive at the door, and it is ajar, actually, and she gestures, and before you even go in, she says, "Bryn, I love you," and she grabs you, gives you a big kiss on the forehead, and she says, "I'm sorry. This is not the way that I wanted to reunite. I promise. I will be a much stronger mother tomorrow, but I must be a summoner tonight." And she turns on her heel and walks down the hallway.
And I yell after her, "I saw Dad."
She turns and gives you a look, but it's not what you'd expect. It's actually like that statement irks her, and she doesn't say anything, and she walks away.
I slammed my door.
Okay. We're actually going to cut to
Oh my god, that was so good!
Homecoming.
I want to do the interrogations, but before we do, I'm going to give Tag a moment with Rex, and then we're going to go and do the interrogations.
I'll delay. I think the
Okay.
interrogations feel appropriate, and my thing's just kind of a gambit. Well, it's a small thing. We'll revisit it later.
Sam, you are led back into the throne room, and it is empty. And these guards take you to a small tapestry that's hung on one of the alcoves behind the throne, of which there are many. And they actually pull it aside, count a few bricks, and push one in. And a secret passageway is revealed.
Secret passageway!
The best. My castle's the best. I mean, my house.
There is a stone stairwell that leads down, and they gesture for you to take the lead. They've not said a word.
You just for me to take the lead?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, great. No my luck. Let's do it. It's not my first round through a dungeon. Let's go ahead and march down the steps of the secret passage.
Sure. It's a spiral stone staircase, and it is very dark. But as you move your way down, those little sconces, that the crystal sconces that you saw on the balcony and other places in the hallways, there are some on the walls, and they flicker to life, but it is a very faint glow. They look like if they were a flashlight, they'd be running out of batteries. And so they just flick on almost as if they're motion sensitive as you walk down the stairwell. It goes down for a ways, and you actually feel the temperature drop as you go deeper and deeper down into this place. And at the bottom, there is a small landing and no door, but the two guards walk forward, and they count some more bricks, push another one, and a door opens. And you are actually led into the dungeons. But they have been converted into an arcane laboratory. Siphons hang from the ceiling, connected into a type of crystal you're not familiar with, which are growing from cracks in the ceiling. Outside this circle of light, the immediate laboratory is lit up. It is a very open and converted space. You can tell that there's no temporary walls that have been erected. The dungeon is just a big open place, and this has been built around this secret entrance. Outside this circle of light, you can just make out jail cells. There is movement in some of them. They don't seem to be all in the same cell. They actually seem to be put into a couple different ones. You get the feeling that this is actually rather a large chamber, and it is a much cooler temperature down here than any other place that you've experienced on this planet.
Well, heat does rise.
They say, Varik will be with you shortly. And the two of them step out of that secret entrance, and the door slide shuts behind them, and you are now inside the secret laboratory. What would you like to do?
Well,
Everything.
yeah, I mean, I guess I'm on my lonesome right now. I may as well take a peek around the laboratory. See,
Sure.
Does it still appear to be like an active laboratory, or does it appear to be? It does.
Very much so, yeah. It looks like there's half-finished notes and papers everywhere that have been written on scrolls, similar to the one that you saw the doctor using to cast that minor magic. The equipment looks to focus on the transference of magical energy. In a way, you only were there for a brief moment to see the professor, but he did help imbue. He helped imbue your hands with the water, right?
Pucks, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that Sam would have been backseat driving for that. In a way, it reminds you, Sam, of the professor's gadgets. This is something that Puck wouldn't have picked up on because he didn't seem to be interested in much technology, but this is something Sam would have seen. It looks like the kind of thing which could pull magic from one thing and imbue it into another, only these are far less sophisticated than the technology that the professor was using. The gaps in the technology have been replaced with like ritual magic. There's some wards and runes of the Spriggan language, which you recognize but can't read.
Well, I don't,
multiple dialects.
because
Huh?
if I don't look at that too long, because if Puck starts reading that stuff in my brain, it's going to drive me nuts. So
Right.
just look at the other stuff, but not the runes. Just,
What you do catch from Puck's little presence in your brain as you scan these the Spriggan language, you do just get a hint that they are. You've seen the Void version and you've seen Fire now. You get a hint that it is all elements. You get a hint that it is the dialect of many different cultures, but the same language.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Well, I'm guessing there's no other summoners or wardens or anybody else down here? Is that...
No, it's just you, and then it looks like movement in the jail cells that are kind of in the dark.
Well, let's go meet the guests.
Sure. You walk out into the darkness, and there doesn't seem to be an immediate way to get light, but it is just enough for you to see like the faces of these people. And in a couple different cells, there are servants who are pacing and cooks, and then you can see a couple prone figures in some other cells.
Great. About how many people are here?
I would say 5. There
Oh.
are 3 servants, 2 cooks.
All right. I'm gonna go up to.
Oh, and that's not counting the prone figures. You can't get a good look at them. But it seems like all of the other cells seem to be full of at least 1 or 2 other prone figures.
And how many of those are there?
You can't see how many cells there are, but of the ones that are in your sight, I would say half a dozen.
All right. I'm just gonna go peek at one of the prone figures and try to see if I can sense any sort of movement from them, or if they're dead. Like if it's sleeping, like they've been here forever and they don't care, or if they're toast.
Sure. Roll investigate a mystery.
10.
Okay, you can ask me 3 questions.
Uh,
This will apply to multiple different cages that we are focusing on with prone figures.
Is the prone figure alive?
They are not. They actually look like they haven't been for a while.
Okay. Yep.
Ooh.
Did they die of natural causes?
As you start to go and look, the first one you see looks, you think maybe is your first thought because they seem to be very thin. But as you continue to look at these corpses, you can see that they've been what looks like drained. You know, they seem to be like husks.
Yeah.
Some of them seem to be, you actually can't tell. Some of them seem to be,
They got practiced on. They're rats. They
yeah, some of them have been melted with lava bile, which
Yeah.
you do recognize, but there are others who seem to be affected by some kind of strange magic, which you do not recognize.
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Ew.
It's enough. I don't need to know. Oh, are there? For my last question, are there any notes about the effects of these experiments mixed in with the spells that I would be able to read, like a secondary journal, like?
Sure, you actually walk over to the desk and you pick up a journal, and you start to page through it with this idea in mind. But the scribbling in it, while there are like arcane equations in some places that are a little bit out of your league, you can tell that the person who is writing these would be very skilled in magic and perhaps creating spells. There is references to crystals, and you recognize them because of the illustrations. And once you look around, there seem to be crystals that are scattered around here. And once you start looking at these crystals, you do realize that 4 of them are actually Erixes, which are like the water gem that was put into your hands. If you'd like to pick them up, there is 2 fire Erixes, 1 lightning Erix, and a blight Erix. You then start to page, and as you get deeper into the journal, the equations become less coherent, and they actually transition seamlessly to a language that you think is another language, but it might just be scribbles. You do see it come back to your little common tongue, and it says words like traitor, resolution, and like there's these big buzzwords about some kind of mistrust. It looks like a very paranoid scribbling about it seems like a lot of accusations of which you can see the crime but not who's being accused. There's a lot of repeated words. Like it doesn't just say traitor in the middle of a line. Like an entire 3 pages have this very tight frenetic writing of traitor, 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 like that. And as you are paging through this journal, the secret passage slides open and Varik steps into the laboratory.
I will casually put this book back.
Roll act under pressure.
I don't try to hide it. I just try to put it back casually. Like I'm not. Well, I mean, whatever. We'll see what happens.
I don't trust it.
That's 12.
Okay, yeah, you just put it back very casually. And he enters and he says, Sam, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot he had an accent. Oh yeah.
We've some trouble this evening that you've offered to lend your expertise in, yes?
That's correct.
Well, it seems time is of the essence, and I would like to get some answers if you wouldn't mind.
I'm game.
He nods and walks right over to one of the cells in which one of the servants is pacing, and he points to this person and says, "You, up against the wall, now." They are very scared and back into the corner, and he opens the cell using a key that is on a little chain underneath, like a wallet chain. And he opens the cell and slides it open and gestures for you to take the lead. And he says, "The summoner informed me that you have a special talent when it comes to questioning."
I do, and I can do it from this side of the bars.
Very well. He slides the door closed and doesn't lock it.
Yeah. What's your name?
You're pointing to the servant?
Servant. Yeah.
Alexander Hamilton.
The servant says, "Tool."
Like the fabric?
Tool?
Tool?
What kind of fabric's tool?
What's the fluffy
You may know
stuff?
it by its other pronunciation, tweel.
Toolay. Well,
He says tool.
How long have you worked in the palace?
There's this moment of uncertainty, and then the answer is like, my whole life. I didn't work here as a child, but my parents did, and I used to come to this palace every day. Why am I in here?
So is that part true?
You don't have to roll for that, right?
Oh, like I can just tell if people are telling the truth or not.
Right. What's really weird is you cannot get a read on this guy.
Whoa.
It isn't that you can't. It's not that you. It's just weird. You're so used to being able to read people, and it's not like they're playing it cool. Like they're obviously in distress. You know, like they're sweating on the verge of tears, but you can't get a read on this guy.
Okay. Let's try something else. Tell me how you feel about the summoner.
I worship her. She's taken care of my family for. Well, their family's taken care of my family for generations, but she personally has been there through my entire life. We eat because she gives us bread. We have a job because she lets us into her home to help in the management of this household.
And again, am I just getting a blank on all of this?
Yeah, what's crazy is, again, like, this is not a poker face, you know, like this person is pouring their heart out, but you got no read on them. If you want to use a skill to try and like crack that, I'd be open for that.
Oh wow, this is okay. This is getting a little tasty. So what I will do, instead of investigating directly what they're saying, I would like to. Oh no, I can't. I investigated the poison. I'd like to try to investigate what is going on and to see if there's something interfering with my ability to discern the truth or not. Whether there's maybe some runes on this cage that is going to like prevent empathy or understanding. This is just or if it's, something to do with the dungeon as a whole, or the Ericses, or just try to. I might have to talk to somebody else to figure it out, but wow.
Read a bad situation.
Okay. What's the bonus I add to that?
Plus sharp.
Oh, sure. That is a 12.
Okay,
Oh.
you get 3 questions. You have some hot dice.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I roll. I roll hot with Sam. I roll cold. Well, actually, I didn't. Oh, whatever. I'll take it while I can get it. What is preventing me from being able to determine whether or not this person is telling the truth?
You don't know in the same way that you can't get a read on this person. You're like looking to them and then looking to Barik, and Barik catches your eye and says, what is your question? It seems like he's telling the truth.
Okay.
And you can't get a read on Barik either.
Suspicious.
Has a spell been cast to affect me?
I think you will need to call on a little assistance in order to get in touch with any kind of magic. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Sam is inert as far as magic goes, right?
That's one way to put it. I think I'd rather run it down. We're gonna have to try something else. Yeah, you can't just throw a guy. What did I do? Why you put me in these situations? Okay, there's no. Okay. Oh my
Say hi to him.
I can't believe this. All right, fine. No, I don't. This guy's the worst. The dude is just the worst. He's terrible. He's the worst. Please don't make me talk to the giant pile of rocks, okay? It's like he sneezes flowers. The guy is just like, hey guys.
Are you saying any of this out loud?
Yeah, probably.
Tariq says, if this is part of that thing you do, perhaps it would be a good idea to call upon whatever it is you think might be able to help you in this moment.
It's not gonna help me. He's gonna help this. It doesn't help me. It's terrible for me. I've been out of the clink for like 24 hours, ready to roll the dice and get sucked back into the void with old Shatterbrains. This is the worst. I should have stayed with Rex. No good deed, right? No good deed? Yeah, all right. Well, they'll forget about me soon enough. It's fine. All right, fine. All right, take one for the team. That's what Sam does. Let's do it. Hey, hello? You ready?
How exactly do you want to make contact? This is the first time we're seeing you deliberately do this. Barik actually says if it's getting in touch with the entity the summoner told me about, perhaps I could be of assistance.
Oh, it's so tempting. I'm really I'm so excited about the possibility of you becoming a part of my ultimate fantasy here. Why don't we talk to the rest of these people first and see if we can't figure out what's what did you have in mind? What did you have in mind with helping me get in contact?
I am able to create a link with you, and if you have trouble navigating your own thoughts or protecting yourself from anything which might be trying to interfere with them, I could run interference.
And I can't tell if this guy's telling the truth, huh?
You cannot.
So this is the worst scene. I'd like to read a bad situation just to see if I can try to trust this guy.
Sure. I think you got one question left.
One question.
In my head, Sam is stomping around, pushing papers off tables and just generally pouting.
Can I trust this guy? Do I need to be more specific?
No, it seems fucked up, but you don't know. This will not happen often. Like, I'm not trying to just block you. There are certain things that have been built into the Fire Planet mission in particular that are in place. I did not expect Sam to be going up against certain things, but they're just you can't tell. Like, something's going on and you have no touch with magic, and so you just can't identify it. It's like outside of your purview. You've seen humans lie and lie convincingly. You've seen it all, but for whatever reason, whatever's happening here isn't something you're familiar with.
Great. Then we have
And
to,
that alone might be distracting you so much that you can't like tune in.
it's fine. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. So Tool, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, okay?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your name?
Tool.
All right. What time do you live in the palace here?
We live nearby on the grounds.
On the grounds. Okay. How many people in your family?
8.
Okay. And how do you always serve the same function in terms of serving the summoner, or do you work elsewhere in the palace as well?
I'm not high enough up to have a set duty. I tend to be a body that will fill in where needed.
Okay. And why did you try to kill the summoner today?
What? Is that why I'm in here?
Yeah, for trying to kill the summoner.
Tool backs up and says, and no sentence comes out, but they do almost like unconsciously touch the pocket on the back of their pants, and they back away to the other side of the cell.
Okay, that's awesome. Hey, Tool. So believe it or not, I'm actually here to try to help you. That's the reason why you've probably never seen me before. Normally they have, these summoners do these things because they can just, I don't know if you saw the bodies in the cells next to you, but that's what happens to people.
What?
What?
They look around and they see now they're actually looking and they're seeing these bodies.
So what I want you to do, Tool, is I want you to come here for a second. I want you to come over here.
Tool
I'm on the other
very
side.
timidly approaches.
Yeah, and go ahead and just turn around for me. Just need
They back up again to the edge of the thing, and Varik points and says, "Now, get over here now." But Tool doesn't seem to give a shit who's saying anything, and they are trying to. You recognize this, Sam, as like a poor attempt at sleight of hand. Get something out of their back pocket.
All right, he's got something in his back pocket. We can go ahead and this Tool's up to something here. So Varik, I don't know if you've got magic or some way to like.
Varik says, "I don't need magic to deal with a servant."
Okay.
Throws open the cell and steps inside and says, "Hand it over." Tool reaches into their back pocket and pulls out a small glass vial. But before they hand it over, they punch Varik in the face, and Varik goes down. Tool jumps on top of Varik and starts to choke him.
I'd like to try to just run up and kick him right in the face.
Okay, roll, kick some ass. That's a plus tough.
Well, I'm out of 12. That's for that is a quattro.
Excellent. Here's what happens. You lunge forward and kick Tool in the face. Tool flies back, letting go of Varik. You are now standing between them as a barrier, and Tool is kind of crawling away, trying to get this vial that is now spinning on the ground. Varik gets up, clutching his throat, and steps away, as though he's trying to get a handle on his anger, and steps outside of the cell, and slides it closed, and locks it, and then drops this act. And Tool actually stands up, and as this fire begins to burn down their body, and one of the tine appears, the glass vial, too, disappears. And Varik says, "Well, you are a rather careful fellow." and we're actually going to cut to the med bay. Tag, I believe you had a moment you would like to have with Rex. You're on mute.
We're gonna call it Tag's Gambit. It's actually not with Rex, but with the guards right outside.
Okay.
I'll step out. There's two of them, yes?
There is.
I'll begin this conversation telepathically.
Okay.
You're doing excellent work. It's all going according to plan. Who else knows?
They look at each other first, as though waiting for more information.
I'm sorry.
And they don't seem to register immediately that you're the one who's speaking.
I'm a parallel. So Varik and I have been in contact for years, positioning me for this exact moment. We lost contact when the barrier appeared over the planet, but I'm well aware of the events that are transpiring.
There is a moment of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like spy recognition, you know?
Sure.
And they...
Finger guns, I think, is what
Yeah,
you're looking for.
yeah. And there's like a nod of recognition. It's very slow, as though before committing to anything, they're waiting for a bit more information.
I'm not asking you to... I know that you're right to be suspicious, and the gravity of what we're trying to accomplish here is enough that I wouldn't want you wagging your tail at anyone who comes up, and as if being a parallel is some sort of badge. I just need to know when it's going down.
They look to you, and one of them says, "It's already started."
I smile. Excellent. Excellent work. What's your name?
I am Vorn.
Vorn. I was told about you. Seems like you've really stepped up. And not only I am grateful, but the organization, the people we work for, it hasn't gone unnoticed.
Thank you.
I turn to the other one. What's the other? Turn to the other one. What's your name?
You fucker, you just like making me do that, don't you? Come up with names on the spot.
The first one was Borg. Is that correct?
Vorn.
Born.
Born.
Lord.
Born.
And
Cecil.
Cecil. Thank you.
You're welcome. I got them for days. You need names?
You're the dude.
Cecil. Cecil, I'm so sorry. Your contributions must have come in after the barrier was created. I'm so sorry. How are you contributing to the plan? What is your role in this?
We've been asked to guard you to ensure your safety.
I look at Vorn with kind of a raised eyebrow. See if he wants to... I'll give him the... allow for some silence to see if he will complete the thought.
Vorn looks to you and says, "A select few possess the knowledge of the operation." And Cecil looks to Vorn like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
I'll slap back into telepathic mode. Vorn, if that is the case, you were well aware that I did not have all the information, and it seems like you've maybe betrayed one too many confidences in having this conversation out loud with Cecil here.
I've never... He starts out loud and then flips back into like telepathic mode, and very uncertainly, like the words are coming in and out as though he's not sure exactly how to keep this line of communication open. Says like, I was not aware you were a part of any of this.
Vorn, all telepathically. Born, we're too far ahead for you to be questioning what your role is or what mine is. You know that this is an avalanche that can't be stopped. I turn to Cecil out loud. Cecil, as you know, I possess telepathic capabilities. I'm surprised you haven't already seen this in Varik, but I've just gotten a message and they're worried that the patrols have not been sufficient around the summoner's room. Would you mind just making a round?
Yes. And Cecil takes off.
Vorn, now out loud. Will this simplify things for you if you can just use your human mouth, Vorn? Please.
Yes.
I was told to expect more from this. What does Cecil think is happening?
He has no information.
Except that which you just thought it prudent to reveal.
You've surprised me into making mistakes. I will not own these. You are acting outside of your station. If you are truly a part of this plan, you would know that we do not speak of it in our heads or outside of them.
Vorn, the plan is happening. The preparations we made when we wanted to enact it are no longer relevant. The powers are here. The mission cannot be stopped. You need to tell me how I can now transition my service. I haven't been in contact with any of the others in nearly a month now. You know that I am a vital cog in this machine.
I can... Ugh! And he's grabbing his head. He seems to be very confused. And he says, I can take you to the meeting room and get you, my lieutenant. I don't know enough, and I don't want to... I don't trust you, okay? I don't trust you. But if what you're saying is correct, and you couldn't have this information if it wasn't, I don't trust you. I will not reveal anything, but I can take you to the meeting room.
Born, you've passed the test.
He grabs the wall.
Now clean yourself up
Yes.
and get your lieutenant.
Okay, follow me. And he leaves. And he brings you with, and you guys take off down the hallway.
Cool.
Rex, you are in the medical bay. The doctor has left, as have the nurses. Tag's not in here. There are no guards.
Sorry.
You are just strapped to a cot in the medical bay. We're actually going to go to Bryn, who we left off going into her room and slamming the door. When the door slams, you hear a ooh right behind you. And you turn around to see a servant. They've actually thrown a vase into the air and catch it. And they're panting and they say, Summoner, Bryn, I'm so sorry. And they set the vase very carefully on your nightstand right next to the bed. And they say, I was simply dusting and preparing your room. It was not ready. I'm so sorry. It's
okay. Don't worry about it. And I'm gonna try to use charm to get some information out of this.
Sure. It's clear that they are trying to, as politely as possible, remove themselves from the situation. And so they give a wide circle around you, kind of like curtsying, and are now near the door and about to leave. How would you like to handle it?
Do I know this servant?
No, which isn't entirely crazy, but you do know a lot of them.
Okay. I'm sorry, what was your name?
Fuck you guys. Young Annie, please. You got a name for me, Casey?
Yeah, Patrick.
Yep, Patrick. It's Patrick. It's Patrick, Your Highness.
Hi, Patrick. You can call me Bryn. Thank you so much for doing such a wonderful job in my room while I've been away.
Blush.
Do you think you could help me out with something? I'm in a bit of a pickle.
Anything you need. Anything you need at all.
I really need to know if there's been anything odd going on while I've been gone.
They take a moment. It doesn't last long. And then thinking, this strange look comes over their face, and they fall forward, actually, and put a hand out. And it looks like they've actually maybe started to feel faint and are trying to steady themselves.
I awkwardly go to catch Patrick.
Sure. Patrick cannot believe that a summoner is handling them, and they back up a little bit. In the heat of the moment, it's almost as if their faintness kind of like passes onto you, and you feel a little weird. But they say, "Yes, sorry, weird things. Some of the youths in the city have been rebelling against the guards. There's been we can't make contact with any of the other planets, and Varik and the Summoner have been very worried about you. Your arrival alone is strange."
Well, somebody tried to poison either my friend or somebody in my party or my mother at lunch. And my mother's not telling me stuff. And I just really need to know if you have heard or seen anything specific in the palace that is concerning to you. And you have my utmost trust. You will not lose your job. I will never tell anybody that you told me. You can 100% trust me. And I'm using all my charm.
Sure. Manipulate someone. That is roll plus charm.
And my charm is a -1. So this should be interesting. That's a 6.
Okay. They say,
Damn
Your
it!
Highness, I have not worked here long, and I regret that I cannot be of more help. I can get someone for you if you have more questions, but I do not think I can provide any answers.
That's okay. I'll just have to find them out myself. Okay, thank you for your help.
Sure.
Please don't tell anybody that I asked you this either, if you wouldn't mind.
Of course. Patrick leaves and closes the door. You're now alone in your chambers.
I'm gonna search around my room to see if anything is out of place.
Sure. Roll, read a bad situation.
What is that? Plus,
For no reason.
what'd you say?
No reason.
I don't know what I'm adding for this.
Plus sharp.
I think sharp is. Can't find my hold place. I don't know where I lost it. I think it's +1, so that's a 10.
Okay. You get to ask me 3 questions. They can be any W questions you'd like.
Who has been in this room since I've been gone besides servants?
It doesn't. It isn't immediately apparent to you because everything looks to be in place. But what kind of sets off your train of thinking is the vase that was just set on the nightstand. Several of the things that you normally would have kept next to your bed, like like just some really cool stuff. There's like hand-me-downs, an old hairbrush, and then maybe like one of the crystal sconces that had been made into a cool lamp. They've been moved to make room for this vase. And when you realize where they've been moved to, you actually start to poke around the room. And it seems like there's been somebody who's gone through your things, and you almost don't catch it because they've gone to great lengths to make it invisible to you. Everything's been put back. Everything is in its right place. And it takes you a second, but you lived in this room your entire life, and you're very particular about how you keep things. And so once you catch on to it, you see more and more that things have been gone through. Clothes have been probably removed from drawers and put back. It looks like some of your diaries are out of order, just like one off. And so it looks like things have been happening. But you would think that this Patrick person would not have been the one. This doesn't look like it happened tonight. It looks like it was done and replaced a while ago. You've been gone for over a month.
Right. What is missing?
What is missing? I think that there is a couple of your journals that are missing, and they've been replaced with the exact same bound books that when you pull out are empty, as though they've been replaced with new journals. And there's just a couple of those journals missing.
Why would my journals be missing?
When you start to think about which ones they are, and you can do this by process of elimination, you can see that about the time that you started learning magic, those journals would be missing. And then a little bit more recently, as you were being prepared to go off planet, anything that you would have been told or about any other summoners, about meeting summoners, about how the protocol is on other planets, anything that you would have been taught and written down almost like notes so that you could remember, those journals too are missing. They seem to be focused around magic and decorum involving other summoners.
Okay, I'm gonna open the connection to tag
Okay.
and say tag.
Bryn,
Right there.
yeah.
Right there. Dude, something is so wrong here. It is
Yes.
not right.
Something's
Something's
weird.
going on.
I went out kind of on a ledge, and I might be in over my head. I'm trying to keep it cool, but thank God I can just tell somebody I am not feeling too cool right now.
Well, yeah, spill the tea. What's up?
Well, there's just something's happening, so I'm just being really ambiguous and trying to get them to kind of tell me what it is. I'm pretending to be one of them. I don't know. I'm really, like I said, I'm kind of out on a limb here. What's up with you?
Well, my mother and I had a really interesting conversation, and she totally snapped and punched a wall.
Yeah, she's
That's
fucking
never
weird.
happened.
No offense, but like, this weird.
It's very weird. And then somebody's gone through my room and stolen a couple of my journals that had some very specific magical information in it.
That is way not okay. No matter what is written in those journals, those are your thoughts, and that should be secret and private.
Exactly. And you know what? I don't trust Barik. Like, at all. I don't want to
Yeah.
meet with him tomorrow. We gotta figure this out beforehand.
Yeah, what? Just be called Varric. You know why you got to be all fleur at the end?
Right? I did call him Varric a couple times in the beginning, and he
Well,
got
of
really
course
agitated.
you did. As well, you should, because that's how it's spelled.
I know, right? There's no E at the end of it. It's Varric.
Please. That's nice to talk to you, Bryn. My anxiety's been running high. It's just good to vent a little.
Okay, I'm always here. You can always just tap in and just be like, "Hey, Brent, I'm really anxious," and then I'll like sing a song or something. It's totally fine.
That's really sweet of you. Okay, thanks.
All right, do you want to meet some? I can't stay in this room any longer. I'm going crazy. I'm
Okay,
leaving.
here's what's going on. I've actually left Rex at the medical bay. I'm following one of the guards to a lieutenant who seems to be in charge of some kind of nefarious plan. Here's what I'll do. I'll leave this channel open if that's not going to interfere with your thoughts, and you can just hear what's going on. And I'll kind of, as we're walking through, I'll be like, yes, a left turn at the one-eyed statue. That's interesting.
Okay.
So that you know where I am, and if you want to check on Rex, she is by. Oh fuck! I also sent the other guard away.
Oh
Okay,
no,
so you
I'll
got a
go
guard
to
named
Rex.
Cecil, but he's just a little punk ass nothing.
Cecil?
Okay, yeah, Cecil's coming up towards your room. I told him to do a round. Honestly, do not worry about Cecil. You could blow him over.
All right. Well, I'll go check on Rex. You keep me up to date on what's going on. I don't know what's going on with Sam. I think he's with. Where is Sam? Do I know where Sam is?
Sam's interrogating the prisoners at the dungeon.
Oh, with Varric.
Yeah, with
Varric.
Varric.
He's gonna eat him alive.
Oh, I didn't know that Varric was going to be a part of that.
I thought so. Isn't that what they said?
Sure. Well, if I didn't know then, I definitely know now.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I'll go check on Rex. You keep me informed. Let me know where you're at, and maybe I'll try to mosey my way on over if things get a little rough.
A tapestry of 2 goats on the right. I'll just go straight for another 10 paces after this. Winking.
I know where you are. There's a bathroom on the left in case you need it.
I don't. I don't, but thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Out.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Well, still in, but yeah, out.
Okay, we're going to.
I want to hear that anti-anxiety song. That'll probably come out at some point.
Man, yeah, fuck. Okay, we'll decompress about this later.
Rex, you are in the cot. You are strapped down, and you've been alone in this room for a while. Your head is beginning to clear. It does seem like the doctors did, in fact, treat you, and the poison or drugs or whatever it was is still in your system, but it is on its way out. So you feel a little fuzzy, but you feel much more Rex. You do hear the door open to the medical ward. You cannot quite see because you are strapped down, but then Varric approaches.
And I don't know anything bad about him other than just like general mistrust, right?
Right. He pulls up a chair and he sits right down next to you and he says, "How are you feeling?"
I feel like crap. Your planet sucks.
I am not from here. I, like your friend, I am.
And
Well,
the
I've
whole
lived here for a
time
long
he's
time.
talking, I would just like to work in there that they obviously confiscated my weapons, but I still have the hilt from that dagger that got melted. And so I've been like trying to slide it out of my pocket and like kind of work on one of the hand restraints while he's talking.
Sure. Roll act under pressure to see if you can do it secretly.
I like how within one episode of meeting Sam, now all of us are like, this fucking planet blows ass.
Worst
That
time
is
when my
an
people-
11.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so you are sawing your binds. It will take some time. We're going to do a conversation, and then you will escape with that roll. You will at least free one hand. The hand holding the dagger will be free.
My
Barik
punching
says,
hand.
your punching hand. Barik
They're both
says,
punching hands. Ah.
he says, when I first arrived at this planet, I too found it to be quite undesirable. But I also realized I wouldn't have a choice, and while the summoner resided here, as she would for her entire existence, so would I, unless dismissed or killed, of course. And so I tried to find the beauty in this place, and what I found to be most enticing was the relentless nature of the planet itself. It seems to muster up a very bastard-like quality, one that cannot be tamed by summoner or company. Interesting that you work so closely with the company, because that quality which I loved so much about this planet is the one that your organization has focused on so much and has devoted so many resources to removing and distributing throughout the rest of the system.
I'm sorry, my head's a little fuzzy still. What are you talking about?
The company and its mining operations in the desert, it's on its way to sucking this planet dry.
Okay.
I find problem solvers to be very effective when pointed in the correct direction. Your skill set, while limited, is relentless.
And I say it under my tongue, your brain set's limited.
And he giggles and says, "How very funny." He places a hand. This will be your moment.
My thoughts.
He is beginning to reach towards your forehead, actually. This would be the moment where your 11 will power through, and you have now freed your hand. That roll will only get you covertly free. To make anything else, you will need to roll a new check if it requires it. What would you like to do? You have time to make an action before he's able to touch your head.
I think we've well established that anytime Rex is startled or it seems like anyone's making a move towards her, even if they are a friend, she responds with punching.
Okay.
So
Roll kick some ass.
I'll punch.
And
Kick some ass.
you are actually going to get that additional plus that you sometimes get for dealing with corrupted monsters.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Okay, so with the plus, that extra plus, it is no longer a failure.
Okay.
I don't want you to fail. It's just the most adorable thing in the world. It's like if this, like sweet Christmas mouse from a children's animated movie was just told like Christmas is canceled, and it's like, oh no, I have
You punch him right in the face. How much damage? With an unarmed attack, I think you, Rex, would probably deal 2 harm, which is pretty good. I think everybody else would probably just end up with 1. And so you punch him right in the face, and he is on the verge. With a mixed success, the 2 of you land an attack. He actually looks like he anticipates the blow a second too late. So your thought to punch does register, but you were just too reactive, and you sock him in the head. He does lurch back forward and grab your forehead. And he says, like I was saying, effective when pointed in the right direction. And your vision clouds over.
Oh no, fuck.
And we are now back in the dungeon. And Sam, you are in a cell with a member of the Tyne, and Varik is standing right outside, and he has just locked you in.
Will you clarify, Jesse, if you're playing with time jumping, or if we
I
are
am not.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, yeah, you got me. Pretty good. It's pretty embarrassing.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. And then
spring. I spring right towards the edge of the cage. As soon as it seems like he feels like he's got the drop on me, I dash back to the edge of the cage and try to grab this guy. Just as soon as he's like, aha, yeah, it's all over now. It's like just hopefully just as snappy as a weasel.
It doesn't seem like an attack. It seems like a maneuver. So I'm actually going to have you roll act under pressure rather than kick some ass.
Yeah, I'm just trying to grab him because he's got a key or something like that, and I know he can be physically touched because he just got choked, unless that's part of their fancy stuff. But hey, man, here we go. 11.
Okay, you reach forward and grab Varik. Where would you like to grab him?
Is he wearing
He's wearing very cool armor, like legendary status armor, and a cloak.
When he initially opened the cage, the cell, did he have a key?
He did. It was on a ring of keys that were on kind of like a wallet chain.
I would like to grab that.
Sure. You pull those into the cage, pulling him forward. And when you look up as he smashes into the bars, you're looking into Puck's eyes.
What? Oh, that's bad. What? Okay, I'm gonna try to unpack this later. Are the keys still in my hand, or am I just looking in Puck's eyes?
You have the keys in your hand. You've grabbed them, but what you now notice is that his other hand is on your elbow, and your brain is itching a little bit.
Oh, no! No, sir. That is inappropriate. You never disarmed me. We're going to Pistol Town. I'm going to try to... Is it Puck or is it the dude? What
I forgot to disarm you, so you got your pistol.
Okay, and is it Varik in front of me, or is it Puck looking at me?
It's Puck.
On the outside of the cage? Look, nobody's going to fault me if it's really Puck. I'm willing to take that risk. Here we go.
This is going to be kick some ass.
Yeah, okay.
I'm surprised Sam isn't relishing this opportunity to take a shot at Puck in the flesh.
I would never, ever relish hurting a living creature. I'm just saying, I'm willing to roll the dice. Okay, what? Oh. All right, one fell off. Got to re-roll. Here we go. No pressure, no whammies. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Give me the box cars. Yeah.
What did you roll?
That's gonna be a Quattro.
Okay.
Everybody's
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Another 4, courtesy of Sam Hagen.
So
through
you
experience.
fire, it hits Puck in the chest, and where it connects ripples out with fire. And this Puck flies backwards, and as it hits the cage on the opposite end of this little corridor, you can see that it is now returned to its original form of another Tine. And the keys, the hard move that I'm taking is the keys that you had in your hand when this creature flew backwards, the chain snapped and the keys flew up and landed in the walkway, but still within arm's reach. So right now, nobody's holding the keys.
Oh man, we gotta try to grab the keys. I would love to try to grab the keys.
This is going to be another act under pressure.
Oh man, gotta love the pressure. Pressure. My pony's coming in. Here we go. Easy money, easy money. Okay, that's an 11.
Okay, yeah, you grab the keys. Both of the Tine, the one in the cage with you and the one outside, dive for the keys at the same time. You are able to slip your arm out, grab them, and roll out of the way, so they kind of smash into the bars right next to each other. They're now laying prone on the floor, and you have some keys.
I would like to unlock the door and get out if possible.
You are able to do that. You've had to break out of a jail several times, so you just unlock the door almost like it's second nature, and you are sprinting, I imagine, back. Are you going back deeper into the dungeon or towards that secret passageway?
Where's the secret passage, my friend?
Sure. They are just trying to get to their feet. They are kind of floating now that they're in their regular form and kind of twisting up into the air, but you run past them, past all of the other Tine, who you would now see the servants, all of the servants and cooks that are in the cages that were brought in as prisoners are now reverting to the form of Tine, and they are reaching through the bars to try and grab you as you are passing.
No, sir, I like it.
But you make it through, and you slide into that laboratory. And as you get to the door and are looking at the keys and realize that you might need to count bricks or something, the door slides open, and again, standing before you is Farik. And we cut to Lisa.
Oh.
Bryn, the summoner.
Yeah, I'm walking to Rex.
Actually, when you open the door to leave your room, there are 2 of those very large, sapphired, sashed guards outside, and they cross their spears in front of the door to bar your way.
Can I just... Excuse me.
They are holding them very sturdy, and they do not say anything. They just hold them crossed in front of the door.
And I contemplate making a big deal with my staff and showing off and whatever, and then I realize that I can actually climb out my window and scale the wall.
Sure.
So I do. I look at them and I like, well, all right then, and I slam the door.
Okay. Your window is behind. There's several. The one that you normally climb out is part of like a bay window. It's off to the side, kind of behind your nightstand.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
absolutely going to go to that. I'm also going to change my footwear to
Okay.
something a little better for
Sure.
fun.
What do you want to be rocking? Let's just get it out there. Let's see the wardrobe choice. What are you wearing?
What am I going to put on? It's very hot here, so I'm definitely going to wear well, I'm not going to wear white this time. I'm going to wear turquoise.
Okay.
And I'm going to wear turquoise just long dress, and I'm going to put on some just comfortable canvas shoes.
Cool. To get out of the window safely, you're going to need to roll act under pressure.
What is that plus?
Plus cool.
Yeah, but wearing double turquoise, you got to get a bonus to cool. Look it
Almost.
up. That's got to be in the book.
Let me check. What'd you roll, Summoner?
I rolled an 11.
That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
So as you are climbing out of the window, you realize that vase that had been set there had been precariously set in front of where you need to go, and so you move it. But as you open the window and climb out, your foot nudges the vase and it falls over and breaks. And there's a loud crash, and you freeze for just a moment, expecting those guards to rush in, but they do not.
They are terrible at their job. But that's good for me. So I keep going.
Sure, yeah. And as you are sliding out onto the little ledge outside your window and working to close that window to kind of cover your tracks despite the vase, you do see movement on the floor next to the broken glass, but it's passing outside of your view, coming towards the nightstand that you just crawled on.
Something's moving from the vase that broke?
You can't see from where you are.
Damn it. I'm gonna investigate it.
Sure. You peek back in, and just as you are looking over the nightstand, you're going to need to roll Act Under Pressure.
That's plus cool. It's an 8.
I got
Okay.
some hopes in my head because I'm already thinking of merchandising potential.
You look over, and there is a flash of movement coming from the floor, and you instinctively reach out and grab it. You feel an intense heat in your hand as a serpent that looks very much like the big Sammy serpent, but much smaller, is now in your hand. The heat does not seem to be affecting you. It's almost like it's charging some battery you didn't know had lost a little juice. But because you rolled an 8, in this moment of celebration of catching a snake as it was jumping, Sammy's serpent opens its mouth and spits lava bile into your face.
Oh,
You take 2 harm. What is your health at?
Well, I mean, I was at 2 harm when we arrived.
So you just took 2 more. So you are actually unstable.
Well, shoot, I wouldn't have healed.
You didn't.
Didn't we drink wine?
You
I'm
did-
not at healing properties.
I don't think there is an argument here that
Uh,
in service of moving the narrative forward, we had opportunities to stop and say like, I get a med pack, I do magic and heal. That I think we
joke about-
could. I'm
Except
not trying
weird
to like.
shit seems to keep happening whenever we use magic.
What's that?
Weird shit seems to keep happening whenever we use magic. So I don't know that we can just retcon using. I don't want to fight your argument,
Sure.
even though obviously I am fighting your argument.
In
Yeah.
this particular
Yeah.
instance,
Oh, we passed the river. We could have drank out of that.
yeah. I'm not gonna give it to you this time because you guys were really in a hurry to get to the town.
Okay.
The time couldn't do anything for you. We discussed you being able to heal and use it several more times, and you didn't. I'm just
Okay. it's
punishing
fine.
you in a way
But
that I
I'm
haven't
unstable.
before. So I
I'm
understand why
unstable.
there's some pushback, but here's how I'm going to do this. You being unstable is actually going to be a status effect, so you're not going to continue to lose health. You are going to be blinded from getting hit in the face with this acid. But I'd like this to be very interesting. So I think that you fling the serpent, and what you realize when you are holding it before it spits in your face is this is not one of the Sammy serpents you saw in the desert. This is the thing you fought. It's just much smaller now.
And Patrick brought it in a vase, and I
guess
trusted
so.
him.
This seems like a good opportunity to try to pitch you guys on Snake in a Vase. Business. This is really for anyone in chat. If you want to get in on the ground floor of Snake in a Vase, yeah, just DM me or PM me or.
Like a Jack in the Box? Like a snake in a vase?
Yeah, it is a lethal
Snake in a Vase.
box to play fatal pranks on your friends with.
Yes.
Also called assassinations or pranks, depending on your lawyer's advice.
Okay. Oh God. So
Snake
I'm covered
face.
in venom all over my face.
The way that I think this happens is you fling the snake to the other side of the room and make it out onto the ledge and slam the window shut. You are now, however, on a ledge outside of the palace in a relatively high area, and you are blind.
And there's a snake on the loose.
The snake that
We
we
are
thought
now-
we killed.
Right now the snake doesn't seem to be an issue because it's in the palace somewhere. You close the window, you're on the ledge, you're fine. But we're actually going to cut to Tag as Bryn is standing there, holding herself against the wall, probably 5 stories up, unable to see, and your eyes are burning. Tag, you have been led down a hallway, narrating the entire time the directions you are taking, by Vorn, and you are let into a small side chamber. It looks like a pantry would kind of fit, but what's being stored here isn't food. It's not even like cleaning supplies. It seems like there's just some books and a table that's been pushed up against the wall. Maybe it's like a break room for some of the guards. And you're motioned to a chair. Vorn says, if you wait here, I'll go get my lieutenant.
Yes, Vorn, I honestly expected the lieutenant to be here, but if this is how you want to spend these few hours, go ahead.
Nobody's expecting you, okay? You just sprung this on me. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
It seems like this is when I should be talking to the lieutenant.
He gives you a gruff kind of look and exits. He isn't gone for very long at all when another of these large guards enters wearing one of the sapphire sashes. This one has a excellent mustache and enters and says, I'm to believe you're one of us.
What's your name, Lieutenant?
Casey, what's my name?
Jane.
Jane.
Jane. I assume that in your gruff description and lowered voice, this is looks like a fellow coming in?
It's actually a lady.
Okay. That is a gruff woman.
She looks like she could fucking bench press you, so what do you want me to say?
Lieutenant, the serpent in the vase went beautifully. The young summoner. Oh, is this over your head as well?
No.
You raised your eyebrows as if surprised. She's been taken care of.
Vorn might not have felt competent to disagree with you, although he did express his distrust. You claim to be a part of this plan?
Closer to it than I think you may even realize. And what I'd like to try to do now is something that Tag has never done before. But I'd like to try and dig within myself and find that malice and just reveal it. Hoping that, because I am kind of shooting from the hip here and trying to line my way through this, I'm hoping that it is a viscerally sinister and impressively sinister enough force that it will be kind of a badge and work in this case.
Sure. I don't think that... Actually, I'd like you to roll plus weird. Just give me a straight plus weird roll. Just to see if anything goes wrong. You're going to be able to do it.
It's a 10.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So how does it manifest?
I think that it's... I just lock eyes with the lieutenant, and she sees it's that sort of like ink dropped in water. Those wisps of smoke just start to emanate from my body, and it's this kind of train rushing through a tunnel sound that she starts hearing.
She kneels, and her disguise drops immediately. Her form burns away, and you see a member of the Tyne kneeling before you. In the flames, there is evidence of the same malice. They say, I apologize, young master. We were informed of this plan once the barrier was up. We had no idea someone outside was aware. We did not mean to waste time or to distrust you. But
Rise, please. We are equals in the future that we're creating.
There is this smile and like a weird head cock. And the Tyne says, Thank you. I have no power here. I answer to another. I would be happy to put you in contact with them.
This plan has been in motion for longer than perhaps you can fathom. But I have not had any contact with the source since the barrier went up around the planet. Please, we cannot waste time. Tell me everything I need to know.
The Tyne outstretches their palm and holds it to you, palm up. They let you rest your hand into theirs, and there is a moment where the closet around you shakes and you are thrust into the phase state in a way that you felt only twice before when you've actually moved through things in it. You can tell that your entire being is actually in the phase state. You see the Tyne as a representation of one of those figures you've seen in the visions you've had when dealing with Half-Dad. And you can tell for just a moment that they are a kind of conduit, because then you're actually ripped out of this closet and thrust into, you can feel yourself being pulled up through floors and then back down again as you move across this palace, and it's happening very fast. You're just kind of seeing things fly around you, and then you end up in the throne room, and you actually hit so hard back into the real world that you tumble across the carpet and are laying prone on the ground. The Tyne did not join you for this journey. You're in the throne room.
Me? By myself?
By yourself.
This wasn't, the Tyne wasn't trying to, I wasn't on hold. The Tyne wasn't acting as a switchboard to get me in touch with someone else?
No, you were actually just thrown into the throne room.
Okay. Is it the throne room from this time, real world, this era?
It is, yeah. It is the throne room you were in earlier today, where you were brought by Varik and met Summoner Amelia. You're just back in the throne room and it's empty.
Okay. Let me jump into the phase.
Sure. When you're in the phase, you can actually feel this pull on you, and you can see that part of what this is what helped you transport here. But if you were to return to that place where you're fully embedded in it, you would be perhaps pulled farther. You can see that line of black energy that you saw in the black hole dripping down into the palace is actually spilling over the throne, and the entire thing is covered in this malice. This black liquid is just pouring over the throne, and there's a large puddle of it on the ground.
I'll have a seat on the throne.
Okay. The moment you sit down, you are thrown again into that world where you were sitting on the altar before, when you were wrapped in the cloak, and it felt different than when you were just seeing Half-Dad. You could hear that singing. It's when you were very injured.
Yes.
You're there again, sitting on the altar, and you hear the song immediately. Something tells you that you're in the right place, but in the wrong version of it. And from very far away, you hear a door open and close. And then from out of the darkness, Half-Dad is standing in front of you.
A knock would have been nice.
You've declared yourself an enemy to our intentions. You've made it farther than we expected.
And you've countered with, I am ill-equipped to fight against the destiny that holds the reins. Are you
not
that
expect to
surprised
stop
that I'm here?
I suppose I am a little bit. This trajectory is not unexpected. Perhaps your success with it is.
I see now. I was introduced to Bryn as a human, as me, as Tag. I've now seen Amelia, a summoner. I've seen that future. I've seen how that power is used. I've seen how that power is corrupted. It's a future that's worthless to me. So, you seem to be at a crossroads. You can allow destiny as a mode of chaos to take my hand and lead me wherever it goes, whether you think I'll be successful or not, or you can let me in on what's happening and I can join you and help.
I see you now, Tag. I see where we went wrong. You had a chance, perhaps, to fulfill this destiny, but it was not you who is to blame for your decision to depart or now try to deceive. I can see that you have very powerful friends and that they mean a lot to you. If you wouldn't mind, we've no reason to continue speaking here. It is a drain of both of our energies. May we return to your world?
Of course.
As you snap out of it, Varik is standing in front of you. And he has Sam in handcuffs knelt before him. The door that is behind you, the secret passageway, is open. So we're working on bringing the rest of your friends here, but it seems that if we've any chance to not waste another lifetime, we've only to convince you in a worthy manner.
You make it too hard on yourself. You don't need to convince me. You said I had friends that mattered. In a sense, that's true. Tag had friends that mattered, but it seems like we both know that that was a mask that I was wearing, even if unbeknownst to me. And I look at Sam and sneer, perhaps the first sneer that Tag has ever done, but I'm going to pop open a channel, which I am just going to trust narratively. I have the ability to do just to Sam, that it is a sealed channel, and say, trust me.
Even before he tries it, can I tell if he's telling the truth?
Tag?
Yeah. Or is he lying when he's saying this stuff to this other dude?
We're gonna do this differently. You can tell. I believe Connor Tag is saying he is telling the truth. Sorry, what you're telling Half-Dad is a lie, correct? It is a ruse.
What I'm telling Half-Dad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sam would recognize immediately that Tag is lying. A couple things happen in that moment. I'm going to save you from opening a channel to Sam because you've witnessed several times over the course of this temple area that your communication perhaps has not been safe.
Okay. But I
And
can
so-
perhaps see that Sam...
Yes,
It's
Sam.
a narrative moment. It's not doing anything for the gameplay. I just
Right.
thought it would be a dramatic beat.
I think that I'd like to just give you the moment to communicate to Sam, or to have you guys recognize that there is a ruse being played. I want to give you the chance to play this out. You will not be able to do so if you communicate telepathically, but because Sam knows you're lying, he is able to communicate to you.
Yeah. This is so. Tag begins his ruse.
Let it be just a sneer, and in the hopes that in that sneer, Sam knows, how foreign of a gesture that would be on my face.
Yeah, it was like I could feel that you are about to extend even more of a point of communication, and Sam simply says, "Well, piss on you, man."
And I'll laugh.
Sure. Varik starts to look confused, and he says, I was tasked with unrelated things. Your being here is complicating that, but I was also told not to trust you. It seems maybe you've come around.
So, I don't know your relationship with your father, Varik, but though I am a bit older than that hormonal period, our relationship started recently enough that you can consider this a temporally stretched puberty that I'm going through.
He laughs.
With all
he
the,
enjoys that a bit.
the rebellion that it does. And I I assume that Varik has confiscated Sam's Void Blaster.
Yeah, the way that I see it, it all kind of happened off stage. It was just Sam running into Varik, and then it would have happened very quickly, where he would have been captured. There was multiple time down there. I imagined he was overwhelmed. I didn't give you a chance, Sam, but the odds were against you.
So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to approach Varik, put my hand on his shoulder, and say, I haven't had a change of heart. I've had a change of will. And I've recognized that what's happening cannot be stopped. And what better purpose is there than to play one's role?
Yes.
And then I reach out with my other hand, and I take the Void Blaster from Varik. I'm making no threat to Varik here at all. And just take a step back and look at Sam and sneer again and say, this human's useless to us. He poses no threat. He's wasting our time. And I'd like to shoot Sam in the chest with a Void Blaster.
Sure.
No! No! No!
Yay!
Please don't!
Uh,
Oh. Oh.
yeah, I think it all happens. I mean, as you're reaching for the blaster and pointing it at Sam, Barik is really just saying, like, this is what we were trying to communicate to you, Tag. We have a million opportunities, but your place in this could mold the outcome as you pull the trigger. And the Void Blaster strikes Sam square in the chest. He is flung backwards, and in midair, transforms into Puck and crashes into the ground. Varik turns and sees this and says, right! And we're actually going to cut to Bryn and Rex. Rex, you are supposed to bring Bryn to the throne room. You've gone to her room, seen that a vase has been crashed. There is an elder viper kind of coiled on the ground, hissing, upset. It pays you no mind. And you can see that the window isn't quite closed. When you open it, you do see that Bryn is shuffling down this ledge, groping for her way into wherever she's headed. What would you like to do, Rex? You know for certain that you need to bring Bryn to the throne room.
How much of Rex is still in? What is the situation in my mind in terms of?
You feel the way you do when you're in the shit, where you have an objective and things are going wrong, and you know that all you need to do is put your head down and do your Rex thing, and you can complete your objective. You feel like that version of Rex, who's in the middle of a battle and just fighting to survive. And it's a bit like tunnel vision.
Then I've spotted that she's out there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll go to the window and I'll say, Bryn, it's me, Rex. You're on a precarious ledge.
I know. I can't see that stupid snake spit venom in my eyes, but I gotta get out of here. I was coming to find you.
Well, I'm here now. Follow the sound of my voice. And
I
like try and very carefully guide her back from the ledge back to the window. And I climb out the window to like help give her a hand.
Sure. I think if Bryn is into this, you will be able to do so without the need of a roll.
Right. Where am I on the wall?
I just imagined you're on some kind of like ledge that has a bunch of gargoyles and shit on it, and you're scrambling around to head. I was picturing you like going out one window to try and get to another.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If I'm closer to the other window, I'm just gonna be like, I'm closer to this window. Just meet me in the room next door.
Yeah.
Just come. Yeah, sure.
So she crashes through the window, and you go around to find what looks like a rather minimalistic setup, kind of monk-like, in the chamber next to hers. And Bryn is now lying on the ground, and her face is covered in lava bile.
Do you have a med kit?
No, but I have this rag, and I try and wipe her face off.
Ow!
This is why we never heal.
Yeah, see? So here's what happens. You're not going to heal any harm, but you're going to fix the status condition. You're going to take long enough to let her see. So you can now see, Bryn, but your eyes burn.
Great.
You've got to come with me. We have to get to the throne room as quickly as possible.
Why,
Here,
what's
do you
happening
want to ride on
in the
my back? I can give you a piggyback ride.
Why the throne room? What's that? What's happening? Is Tag
It's
okay?
some- I don't know. We have to go to the throne room. We have to go right now.
Who sent you?
I think that let's say that I have kept this open unless there's a reason not to, because I do want to have let Bryn in on what's going on.
If you were trying to be careful, you would know that your telepathic communication is no longer free from spying.
Okay, cool. Well, you're in the dark, my friend.
Literally.
Well, you can at least see now, right?
Yeah,
she
now I
can-
can see. Now I can see. I was like, okay, I appreciate the piggyback offer, but I could walk. But please tell me on the way down there what's going on. Who told you to go to the throne room? I don't trust anybody right now.
Generally,
Technically,
I would say
Varik
that-
told you.
Yeah, that's true. Varik
Varik?
told me we need to meet there as soon as possible.
I don't trust him, but okay. And I open the connection to Tag.
Tag feels it open.
Do I have? Is it ringing? Can I not pick up that? Oh, fuck it! I already fucking shot the. I brought the brigand into play. Let's go for it. I've played my hand.
As of right now, Varik looked pleased to see the appearance of Puck.
Okay. You're trying to. Okay. Well.
Oh boy.
You're welcome to blow the lid off of it whenever you want, but the action you took did not in and of itself.
In the movie, in my head version of this, I just saw that moment so cool where I shoot him and then Big Gollum comes out and the punching starts. But if the punching is not starting, then
He's technically still in handcuffs.
oh, come on, this fucking giant void chrysalisk monster.
Oh, he'll be able to do that immediately. He just hasn't had a turn yet. I don't think that handcuffs are going to do much for Puck, but
Okay,
Look.
yeah, I'll open the call with Bryn.
Tag. Are you there?
I am Bryn.
So somebody put a Sammy Serpent in my bedroom and it spit lava bile all over my face, and I tried to scale a window, which was a bad idea, and Rex is in here and she's telling me we gotta go down to the throne room because Varik has summoned us. He
Well-
doesn't summon, I summon.
Then I have to say, Bryn, I'm disappointed that the serpent was not able to perform one simple task.
What?
Come down to the throne room. We'll make this much easier. Varik and I are waiting for you here to finish the job that the snake could not.
Ugh. Fine. And I
This
hang
is
up.
all happening telepathically, right? Like, I don't hear any of this.
I think so.
Yeah.
Everybody's lost their minds. They've lost their minds. I hang up.
Bryn, it's very simple. You're wasting your time looking at these servants. You see what you want to see, which is exactly what the Tyne have showed you.
Okay.
The time.
Onward. The time.
Varik and I will be waiting. There's no reason to try and defend yourself. We've reached the point of no return. And that moonberry pie was disgusting.
You're a very bad person and I don't like you anymore. And I really hang up this time.
Now, I don't know if this will be up to Bryn whether what she believes. My hope is that the moonberry pie,
That was. I got it. Loud and clear.
girl, I shut my big fat mouth.
If you'd like, Rex will just take you to the throne room.
Yes, that sounds lovely. I'm
You
going to make
pass-
sure I have my staff.
You do.
Okay.
I imagine you're not leave. You would never. To me, you would
Yeah.
never leave a room without it. So when you climbed
I
out the
don't think I would
window,
either.
yeah, you pass many guards along the way. They just nod to Rex, and you are brought to the throne room. When you get there, you see that Puck is laying on the ground, not Sam, and that this happens in the room while Tag is there, but what you see when you open the door is that Tag is, I think, still standing in front of the throne, and your mother turns away from him and looks right at you.
Mother?
Darling. And she starts to glide down the steps towards you.
Sorry, Jesse. The steps, so she's coming from a different location, or she sees Tag and Mom together?
She sees Tag and Mom together.
Gotcha.
And so she's entering the main door. So you two would be in like the most prominent space up by the throne, and she's coming in and just seeing you. Rex and her are walking in. Puck would be laying on the ground. They'd actually pass him first. This is where we're going to go into a bit of an initiative, because now we are in a place where we're going to start taking turns. You see Summoner Amelia gliding down the steps towards you, Bryn. You're going to go first. What would you like to do?
Read a bad situation.
Roll it. Plus sharp.
7.
Okay, you get to ask me one question.
1. And I see my mother and Tag.
Yes.
I don't see Tariq.
Varik?
Varik.
No, you do not.
I do not. What can I say? What is being concealed?
Sure.
I love that question.
Your mother is not holding her staff.
She's not holding any staff?
No.
And I don't see it in the room anywhere?
No.
Can I ask her a question, or is that my turn?
I will let you ask her a question.
Okay. I'm going to approach her, and I'm going to grab her hands
Mhm.
just so I can feel her and say, Mother, where is your staff?
This look crosses over her face, and she says, shit. It's all in the details. And she transforms into Varik, but it does not look the way that it does when the time change shapes. It is this strange illusion that is pulled away and blows away like dust. And now Varik is standing in front of you and says, I'll just borrow yours, and grabs your staff. Puck, it is your turn.
Hey guys! He sits up, breaks as he his wrist bursts into full obsidian glory. They just snap off. He's like, "Wow, Sam's pieced. You guys are in trouble." How far away is? Well, let's see. I suppose I'll just start with whoever's closest, and that would be the one next to me, yeah, or the one who had handcuffed me originally, the first Varik.
Yes, this is the real Varik. You get the definite impression, because this person changed in a way that the Tyne did not. There are no other guards in here. There are no other Tyne in here. It's just Varik. He's pretty close to you because he would have had to walk past you to get to Bryn when he was in the summoner form.
Okay, I would like to try to cut off Varik's arm that is grabbing the staff.
Fuck yes.
Just,
Okay.
I'd like to just kind of put the hands together like some big claymore and just try to lop that whole arm off.
Okay. He's got some stuff that he can do. You are going to roll kick some ass.
Okay. With mods, that is a 8 plus 3 is 11. And
Okay.
I ignore armor.
Okay. So, as a reaction, he lets go of the staff and casts shield around his arm. You get the itchy sensation the moment you try and strike him, in the same way you felt the Tyne anticipating or looking through your memories. But your attack hits. It does not cut off his arm, but it shatters the shield which is left up around him in the form of sand, much like Bryn's do. And it shatters the shield. And how much damage do you deal?
So he does 3, I believe, unless he's affected by water.
Okay. Barik is not affected by water. You deal a full 3 damage because it goes through armor. And Barik is actually thrown to the ground. He's had to let go of the staff in order to cast this, and
Right.
you've knocked him onto the ground.
Okay.
But the moment you touch his magic, you take 1 harm. And you feel your void energy, your being channeled into him. And then you see him heal 1.
So does that bypass my immortality, the one that reduces all harm by 1?
Yes, this is one of the few instances. It feels like when you stepped into that shield during the puzzle. It feels like when the snake did this thing to you. It's all in line with this kind of like magic sucking device.
It's the snake guy.
Jafar?
So you would deal 3 damage normally, but because he took 1 of your harm to replace his own, you deal only 2.
Yes.
But he is now on the ground. Tag.
I'd like to delay my turn until all my buddies have gone, if that's okay.
Yes. Rex, you very badly want to protect Varik.
Then I would say Puck seems like the biggest threat. And so I'm going to take a flying punch at the big spiky monster.
Okay.
You're just giving it to him?
You're going to roll kick some ass.
That is an 8.
Okay. You lunge forward and you deal damage to Puck. How much do you deal? You're just punching him with your fist, or you're using Graflex? It's your call.
I have been under the idea that like my weapon had been confiscated at some point, and that in his rush to direct me, Varik had not thought to be like, grab your weapons.
Okay. Yeah. I think everything was happening very fast. So you lunge forward and you punch Puck, which we've established does 2 damage because you're a beast. All your regular powers work here, Puck. So if you're reducing damage, they would work.
Okay.
But as you smash this obsidian beast with your bare hand, you take 1 harm, and you are going to roll plus weird.
Eight.
Okay. The pain cuts through this fog that has been directing you, and for just a moment, you see that you've struck one of your partners, and you freeze in your action to pursue him. You're going to have an opportunity to break this spell. Every time you get at least a partial success, you will get an additional +1 to your roll. So the next time you take damage and have to break this spell, you will get a +1.
Wow, you totally missed. That was normally you're so precise, but you missed by like an entire me. That was wow. I'm still rooting for you. It was a good climber. Is your hand okay? Okay. Where is he? Where'd he go?
All
And I
right.
just
So
say, ow, sorry, and then it's the thing clouds my mind again.
When Rex takes that damage and has a moment of clarity, you actually see Varik flinch, as though he just tried to dodge something, a phantom punch almost. Tag, that leaves us with you.
I would like to say to Varik, you're wasting time with the staff. Her magical powers remain. It's an instrument. We need to be doing what we're doing and cut off the influences. And I'm going to try and through the phase disrupt. So I guess I'm going to slow down and talk through what I'm doing, because I'm kind of trying to play both sides of a coin. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to do is disrupt the magic in the vicinity that may be allowing him to kind of get in people's heads, but I'm trying to do it under the guise, as far as Varik is concerned, of limiting the powers of my allies.
Sure. One thing that you would piece together before you need to start rolling any dice is everything that he's been capable of is in line with what Parallels or you can do. It just seems to be more powerful.
Sure.
Okay. So you want to disrupt his ability to affect their magic?
Yes, but I am narratively trying to...
#tip sadly moment of clarity isn't in this store. Equally sadly we couldn't find a clarinet for Sam before Puck came out to play. C'est la vie.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
That's a break in my heart. That's very generous. That's very sweet of you. Where was I?
You were trying to disrupt his ability to affect your partner.
Yes, and my intention is to delay the reveal of my true allegiance to this party as long as I can. So I'm doing it under the rhetorical fiction of wanting to get in their way.
Okay. This is just going to be a straight use magic roll. So you're going to roll plus weird.
Okay, 5.
I was going to let you do whatever you wanted, man.
Hey, that's the game, you know?
No, it's no Quattro, but it's pretty good.
No Quattro.
Okay. So, Varik has looked over his shoulder as Tag says, you're wasting your time. The staff is just an instrument. He nods in recognition and lurches towards the summoner. At that moment, Tag tries to disrupt his power. And what ends up happening is it's like sending out kind of a radar beam that gets like focused into a laser. And you just feel as everything slows down around you, you're starting to kind of fall into the vision of the phase state. You see Varik continuing to go after the summoner in slow motion, and stepping out of him is Half-Dad. And he puts his hand up behind you, and you feel this thing pass right by your head, and he catches his glaive. And as he's marching towards you, you and everything else is moving in slow motion, and he is not. And he says, I suppose I believed you because I wanted to, Tag, but I should know better. Because you, like all of us, are operating in your own best interests. And these friends of yours, these powerful, powerful friends, will pay the ticket that you will be unable to address. And he brings his glaive back and hits you with it. And you fly backwards into the throne. You do not take any harm, but you feel that malice, that black puddle of ichor, start to come up and over your body. And it looks like that scene where Neo, for the first time, is going into, or leaving the Matrix, and it kind of curls over, and you hear that, ow, as we...
How interesting, as I too intend to pirouette in the direction of the Matrix for a move down the line in this combat encounter.
But as Tag gets covered in this malice, roll plus weird.
Me.
You.
8.
Okay. You are now very conflicted because the power you feel radiating off of this throne is fueling in you in a way that you have never experienced before. And you actually are able to identify very clearly that it's coming from that black hole. And you are looking now through this filter. It's like a second layer of going into the phase state. And you can see the magic pulling off of Bryn, pulling off of Varik, pulling off of Puck. There's this halo of an illusion that is circling Rex's head. It too is being peeled away. And you can feel it, all of it going into this black hole that's somewhere above you and just funneling all of that power into you. And you are finding it very, very difficult not to just release the pressure that you feel building in your chest. And everybody looks to the throne now as Varik grabs Bryn's staff again. And we see Tag's eyes start to turn black. Blackout.
Oh, so many things to do.
Guys, I just want to say, both to my friends here and my friends in chat, this may be the most fucking fun I've had doing Void Jumpers ever.
Tonight's stream?
What's up? Yeah, I loved tonight's stream.
Me too.
Yeah, it was dope.
Firing on all cylinders.
Thanks for rolling with the punches, my crew here. I know that I did some things off screen, but I just wanted to facilitate a couple interesting moments. So I appreciate it.
Yeah,
For just
I
going,
didn't know that you did some off-screen stuff. What are you talking about?
just putting Puck in some handcuffs and
Oh, yeah.
sending Rex to go pick
We're
up.
making a movie, you know? We're advancing the plot in interesting ways.
You know,
So thanks for rolling with the
if
punches,
Bryn had
y'all.
truly resisted going to the throne room, I definitely would have picked her up like a disobedient toddler and just carried her like legs kicking.
I couldn't have done anything either being blind. Like, there's no way.
We're gonna.
Sides. Oh, sorry, Jesse.
No, I'm just saying we're gonna have an interesting start to the next session because you are going to be in combat, but both Rex and Tag have rolled a mixed success to combat some of this order that's been given to you, and so I think that you'll have an opportunity to kind of weave in and out of being controlled in whatever manner you see fit, and I think that it will affect how you all fight.
I do suspect so. How old have we ever established Bryn's age?
400. I don't know.
Is it like that with Summoners?
I haven't really thought about it.
They stopped aging at some point, so they don't look older than, I think we established that my mom doesn't look older than 45.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you may be hundreds of years old?
Maybe.
Oh, wow, cool.
I don't think well, maybe.
I really like yeah, we're doing some family stuff here, you know, with Bryn and her mom and Tag and his half dad. We're just seeing a lot of like just like really refreshingly teenage responses that I find incredibly compelling.
Yeah. Yep. And also I noticed that Varik and my mother were never in the room at the same time.
Did you finally realize that?
I realized it. And I was going to comment on it, but I didn't.
I did not. I knew something was fucked up. I'm telling you, you know, just it's Varric, okay? Right off the bat, I do not trust you.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good stuff. All right, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I did not look at the schedule, so Mark might have to pop in. But anyways, if you want to tell us where we can find you, that would be great, starting with Jesse.
Today, I want everybody to go check out El Good Times on YouTube. It is one word, ELGOODTIMES. There's some silly web series with fun props there. I made them with my buddies, and I think some of these cool cats are in some of them, depending. It's been a while since I watched them. I know Connor for sure plays a pretty funny cracker boss. Anyway, go watch that.
Awesome. Casey?
Yeah. I wish I had the number with me, but I'd invite you guys to come watch me play on Magic the Gathering Arena under the pseudonym Ivan Drago, which of course is a blue mana joke as well as a rock and roll joke mixed into one. But since I can't do that, why don't you come visit me at Case Jackalope at Instagram?
Yes. Connor?
Well, I know this seems like I'm trying to get points after the fact, but I was, in fact, going to tell you to go to L Good Times. So I see no reason not to stick with it and just add another vote in that pile. We were talking about a little movie called Hamlet that Jesse made a few years back that started this discussion.
And Hamlet.
I don't even get this joke, so surely no one else does. Maybe that's actually doing a disservice to chat, who's been following the Zombie Orpheus stuff for quite a while. Yeah, but you can also visit me anywhere.
Okay, Trin?
Hey guys, I'm mostly on Twitter at Trin Miller, and I do know something about the schedule because tomorrow is Zoe game night, and I will be on it.
Heyo!
Hey!
So an extra fun reason to watch Zoe game night tomorrow. And also, I would say that another website that you can go to check your voter registration is just simply vote.org.
Wow.
Do that. Make sure you register.
Absolutely. I'm Lisa. You can find me on Twitch under It's a Smalls World. I'll be streaming tomorrow and Friday around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think we're doing Subnautica tomorrow and then Fall Guys on Friday because I'm a glutton for punishment. Yeah, come hang out with me. I want to say a big special thanks to Mark Thomason for doing all of our tech. He's amazing. To our mods packs, and I think I read in chat that Merc is now officially a mod. I don't know if that was a joke or if that was the truth, but you're gonna get love for it anyway, Merc. So thank you. And to Aaron Buman for doing our music and our dope ass graphics in our intro. So cool. And to Zombie Orpheus for hosting us and putting us up and connecting us with all you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We got Zoe game night tomorrow at 6 p.m. with Trent. Yay! And Masters of the Metaverse on Monday at 6 for sure. And
TG game night on Tuesday?
there's game night on Tuesdays usually, and Couriers I think on Friday, but I'm not sure about that. So check their schedule. They've got it up on their Twitch site. Yeah, that's it.
And our season 2 finale next week.
With
Invite your
special
friends.
guests.
Have a little party with it, A socially distant party, obviously. A digital party, obviously.
Obviously.
Sweet.
We love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for being here with us. We really love telling this story.
Yeah. Toodles.